refresh this. All right, you gonna give me a countdown, or you wanna?
Oh, you didn't hear me? I said 3, 2, 1.
Oh, okay. Dang. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, world. We are coming to you live here at Midnight's Edge from glorious Shabby Road Studios. I'm, of course, Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo, and as always, joining me, and I've got a commercial playing in the background. That's the pitfalls of live broadcasting, people. You never know what's going to happen. I'm Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Tom Connors.
Good afternoon, good sir. We're on the weekend edition.
On the weekend edition, or that it cut out. It sounded like the Wend edition. So that's a totally different edition. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So yes.
But I can hear you. That's what matters.
Yes, that's all that matters. We got some news for you, good people. So sit tight, and we're gonna cover some stuff. We're gonna get to some questions. Michael Miller, you might want to hold the questions just for a little bit, because we got some late breaking news.
Dateline Hollywood.
Isn't that
Kathleen Kennedy still has a job for the
now
time being.
that we know of.
For at least all that we know of. Is the clock ticking? We'll find out.
So? We actually got some breaking Star Wars news. A scene from a Reddit user named Forlom. That's how it's spelled. The number 4, LOM. Has broken this on Twitter. Take this with a grain of salt. We can't verify this, obviously.
Right.
But
that's why it's a rumor.
He says that. Yeah, he says that a very familiar face is coming back to the Star Wars universe.
That's right. We kind of figured this was going to happen, but
yes. Well, according to this Forlom, there's going to be a certain a bulbous figure appearing. I'm going to read to you the Reddit post. Now, we can't verify this, but take this with a grain of salt. But this is what they call it in the biz as what they call a rip and read. Okay. Star Wars is following Star Wars leaks. Hey guys, it's your friendly neighborhood leaker Forlom. I'm here back with some more fresh info from inside Lucasfilm HQ. I recently sat down for lunch with a friend of mine in another department who shared some interesting info about a really cool sequence from Episode 9 that includes Finn, Poe, and Rose. DJ is back and involved with the Hutts. Crime syndicates will play a large role in the film as unlikely allies of the Resistance. That picture I mentioned a few weeks back of Finn and Poe and a heavily populated planet is actually them making contact with the new leadership of the Hutt cartel. The new Hutt is Jabba's son. I forget his name, but it's name dropped when they bring up his title, Blank the Hutt, son of the mighty Jabba. This is very small, but apparently are Twi'leks in the sequel trilogy. They can be seen on this new criminal planet. Rose, Finn, and Poe work together as a trio. Apparently, their dynamic is solid and less cringe, as my colleague described it. There is a dare scene with the 3 heroes and the Hutt cartel. It was described to me as something like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, with lots of gross food and cool music and a cool musical number in the background. So I wonder if we're gonna get the Jedi Sice Noodles appearing again.
Her temperature is rising.
So anyway, the Reddit post goes on. They are forced to leave early after the FO First Order raids the Hutt hideout, and they leave blasters ablaze with DJ in tow. My friend is quote unquote involved with the creation of this sequence. He seems very proud of it and tells it it will feel extremely Star Warsian, whatever that means.
Star Warsian.
And that's all I know at the moment.
Oh, go ahead.
That's all I know at the moment. That's all for now. But we'll find out something new. You guys will be the first to know. Cheers.
I know Jabba had a son in Clone Wars because he was in the Clone Wars movie and the cartoon. I mean, I can't remember kid's name though.
Yeah,
Slobby the Hutt. I don't remember.
Rada the Hutt, Rotta, Rada the Hutt, apparently is his name.
Okay,
but I kind of doubt. I have a lot of doubts about this.
Very far fetched, and if that is, it's. I didn't like. Okay, let me preface by saying I do love Benicio del Toro as an actor, but I hated the character DJ in the movie, The Last Jedi. It was just dumb. I was hoping they were done with him.
Well, apparently not. Apparently not. He's got a contract. So, I have my doubts about this scene. I really do. But we got some other Star Wars. And there's another rumor going around. I'm taking this right from Movie Web. That Billy D. Williams has been in training to return as Lando in Star Wars 9. It put a question mark at the end, so you have to go up in Star Wars 9. So, but anyway, let me read this. Written by Kevin Berwick. The older Lando Calrissian could be making a return to the big screen for Star Wars 9. The 81-year-old actor Billy D. Williams. So you got to say it like that. Billy D. Williams is rumored to be preparing to reprise his role. Yeah, time and tide wait for no man. As the ever-charming Lando Calrissian, after it's revealed that he has been in training 3 days a week. Lando has been in the news quite a bit lately due to the release of Solo, A Star Wars Story, and Donald Glover's portrayal of a younger version. MegaCon Orlando took to social media to reveal that Billy D. Williams is on a completely new diet for his return as Lando Calrissian. While the news on its own doesn't really seem like much, Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill did the same thing when preparing for 2015's The Force Awakens and again for The Last Jedi. Williams could just be making lifestyle choices, but the timing is a little close to production of the start of Star Wars 9, which is reportedly going to start in July. And MegaCon Orlando has a tweet, fun Billy D. Williams fact. Billy just had his 81st birthday. He's training 3 times a week with a trainer and has a whole new diet. MegaCon Orlando, another tweet, fun fact. Billy D. Williams fact. Billy, same tweet.
Maybe he just got some better insurance.
Yeah. yeah. And so when someone named Brian Jensen on Twitter also points out,
Colt 45.
Didn't Carrie Fisher do the same? Yeah.
Well, we were saying the same thing before the show too. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, the man's 81 years old. I mean, God bless him. I mean, jeez. Like I said, it just could be that he is, has to make some lifestyle changes, get healthier, better quality of life. Last time I saw Billy D. Williams, he was walking with a cane, which, for someone, you say, before anyone says, oh, geez, that's terrible. No. It's, a lot of people have arthritis. They have problems with their joints. When they get older, it could have been he had an operation. You don't know. But if they do bring him back, I hope they don't humiliate him like they did with the other characters. I really don't.
No, they'll just have him dry humping the Millennium Falcon. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you walk in. I was just spending some time with an old friend.
Hey, why don't you put some nice cold 45 into the hyperdrive so we can get this party started. So, damn, baby, I sure did miss you. Han made some upgrades, didn't he? Yeah, he keep. Oh, looky here. He kept that one special port I used to use, so I can make sweet love to my hot droid mama. So anyways, bad.
Yeah.
So anyway,
who put this regulator here?
Oh no! Oh man, cut himself on that now. Oh, we gotta be careful with that.
So yeah, we kind of figured this. We were, I guess, not surprised or surprised he didn't show up in The Last Jedi, and if he shows up in the next film, I wouldn't be surprised in the very least at all. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, so and we got some more news. Like take this, nothing's confirmed, take it with a grain of salt. Nothing's confirmed. So but as they say, Michael Keller. Shall we leave you two alone, Rob and Tom? Oh, Tom.
No.
No way. I tend to like the ladies, which is why I keep some nice, cold, refreshing Colt 45 all time. Works every time.
Let's move on to the next story.
Next. Why don't we do on to the next story? Yeah. Okay. Next story. Eddie Murphy. I only do one Eddie Murphy impression. That's "Hey!" So, which is not even a good one.
I do a pretty good Eddie Murphy.
So anyway, Eddie Murphy is playing Dolomite star Rudy Ray Moore in the Netflix movie. Now, if you don't know the name Dolomite was a blaxploitation character in the 70s, a series of movies featuring Dolomite, the black man who won't quit. They actually did a parody of that on Futurama one time. So yeah,
way down in the jungle deep.
Yeah, but Eddie Murphy is about to return to the screen for the first time in a while. He's starring in Dolomite Is My Name, a Netflix film which begins production on June 12th. Oh, right around that's Tuesday. About the life of Rudy Ray Moore, star of the blaxploitation. I got a plane over. Blaxploitation Dolomite films. Hustle Flow's Craig Brewer is directing a script by Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski. The writing team behind such quirky biographical films as Big Eyes, Ed Wood, and The People versus Larry Flint. John Davis and John Fox are producing with Murphy, who's been eager to play the role for a decade. Moore worked in a Hollywood record store in 1970 when began hearing obscene stories of a pimp hustler named Dolomite. He started a club act. I lost my place here. Sorry.
Live.
He started a club act where he became Dolomite. He started a club act where he became Dolomite. He began generating records. Shit, I get it. Yeah, the spreadsheet format's not working for me. But anyway. Yeah, anyways, all you got to know is Dolomite. If you ever seen Superfly, Shaft, and those kind of films, some of the Jim Brown movies, who was also in the Enter the Dragon. It's that kind of vibe, and that was actually it was satirized a bit in the Bond movie Live and Let Die. Actually,
well, the movie came out in 1975, which he starred as a kung fu capable pimp ghetto hero who stuck it to the man. Moore followed with 3 sequels. He continued to be an influence for the likes of hip-hop entrepreneur Snoop Dogg, and he's had something of a comeback, starring alongside the hip-hop group Insane Clown Posse in Big Money Hustlers in 2000. So yeah, that's his claim to fame there. But yeah, I can see Eddie doing this. He looks just like the guy. It's weird.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it should about time Eddie Murphy's gotten a good role. Jeez.
All right, you want me to take this next one?
Yeah, you take the lead on the next one.
Yeah, because your copy there is pretty bad, I guess. Yeah. Looks like the Iceman is returning. Val Kilmer is back for Top Gun Maverick. Val Kilmer is returning with Tom Cruise in the film sequel that the original came out in 1986 from Jerry Bruckheimer Productions. The Paramount movie, which hits theaters next summer on July 12th and is currently in production in San Diego, follows fighter pilots who are entangled in a drone-driven airspace, which has made their flying obsolete. Joseph Kosinski, who worked with Cruise on Oblivion, directs. Oh boy. Kilmer will portray Iceman, the rival pilot to Cruise's Maverick in the original Tony Scott directed film. Bruckheimer Cruise are producing alongside Skydance and David Ellison. The original film, I wasn't a big fan of it, but I remember it being really huge.
It was good for it.
I was gonna say it was probably bigger for you because you were a little older than me at that time. So I was at that age to where it just really didn't do much for me.
Yeah, it's kind of an typical 80s kind of movie. You know, not until Val Kilmer was really sick for a while. I mean, yeah, it's been 30 years since he played Iceman, well, let's talk about a guy who's going to be getting back into shape. I mean, really, I don't know. It just seems like this is coming way too late.
Well,
I see how
for so long.
Yeah, I can see how it's relevant now with the whole drones, you know, and drone warfare and stuff like that, and you know, our pilots feel necessary, automation and stuff like that. But
yeah, I mean, I guess it's relevant in that sense, but in the sense of just, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Top Gun's nearly one of the more popular 80s titles, but I could be wrong. I mean, I know people still know what it is, but I mean, you ask a kid nowadays if they've actually seen it, and I doubt it. But
yeah.
What do you guys think about that? Let us know in the comments if you guys have seen it, and what do you think?
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're gonna bring back Kelly McGillis.
I have no idea. I know something about Kenny.
Yeah, well,
Kenny Loggins had said he wanted to redo Danger Zone for the film, though. So I don't know.
Well, he did remake Danger Zone with Charlene on Archer. That was funny. But yeah. Well, for you older kids out there, Kelly McGillis was in a movie with Susie Porter, who was in Star Wars, called Monkey's Mask. That is that it's one of those Skinamax movies. That is borderline porn. so if yeah, so just fun fact, you know, do take that information what you will. Always willing to pass along interesting data. So anyway, but moving on.
Yes, moving on to the next story. Let's see here. What do we got?
Mystery box.
No. And it's a mystery box. Oh, Jesus. What we were afraid of, or I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, or what to think of this, but Bad Robot has decided they're going to get into gaming now. Yeah. What do you think about this, Rob?
I try not to. Bad Robot and China giant Tencent are teaming to launch Bad Robot Games with the plans for a new division to be exclusive game development vehicle and controlled by and operated by J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot. Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment has come in as a minority investor in the gaming arm, which will be run by executive Dave Barnoff. Terms were not disclosed. I am a massive games fan and increasingly envious of the amazing tools game developers get to work with and the worlds they get to play in, Abrams said. Announcing the games division, he said, now we are doubling down on our commitment to the space with a unique co-development approach to game making that allows us to focus on what we do. Will be hopefully meaningful multiplier to our developer partners, and yada yada yada. And that I'm bored by this story already. So that
I don't care.
But the whole thing. But here's the problem, though. I mean, like I said, if it's gonna be anything like like his games.
Yeah, I was just
like,
gonna say.
It's gonna be anything like his movies.
Yeah, I seen a comment.
We're gonna have
I think it was on the Facebook group where somebody said, "Yeah, the first two levels are going to be really awesome, but then you spend the next 22 levels trying to find a mystery box that leads nowhere," or something like that, and become very disappointing in the end. Yeah.
Find the key, and when you open the mystery box, it's gonna be empty. It's like freaking. I keep bringing up about Abed on Community's Christmas special about how he opened up his Christmas present, and it was season 1 of Lost. It says it represents lack of payoff. I'm like, yeah, that's what I envision. Let me tell. Just what we need. Just what we needed. More mystery boxes. Well. But speaking of games, actually, this is actually pretty good news. Actually, GameStop. Now everybody has a GameStop near them, for good or for bad. GameStop is going to be getting into selling comics. Now you might say, "Oh, this is going to be terrible," but actually, I see this as being pretty good. Bleeding Cool reports GameStop will start offering comic books directly in certain locations. Leaked photos reveal comic titles already in chain stores. System, which mostly consists of Marvel and DC comics, but there are also Oni Press titles. James Parker, who previously stated that comics and collectibles initiatives Hastings inspired this move. His part of the chain store was successful, but the rest of the store couldn't keep up. So the chain closed its doors. But now Parker has moved to GameStop and will initiate a trial form in 20 GameStops and 20 ThinkGeek stores. But remember that there are around 6,000 GameStop branches, so this could become revolutionary if the program is a success. But but this is actually pretty good. James told Bleeding Cool, we are getting into comics as a retail test form. Comics are often a part of our promotional entertainment industry environment, including games, including video games. We can learn from this tribal knowledge. We indeed partnered with Diamond to carry a small selection of comics in 40 stores utilizing their new spinner rack. The comics are mostly from Marvel, DC, with focus on key series and titles. This is just a small launch to bring comics to some of our collectible stores as they fit in with the current trend of collectibles that are performing in the market. Should this prove successful, we may consider rolling out additional stores in the future, but to keep the plan limited in the spinner racks for the foreseeable future. So this is actually exciting news.
Yeah, it is, because comic book stores have been dying.
Yes.
I mean, I live in an area in my whole life pretty much where I've never really had access to a comic book store. And my whole experience growing up, and the only way I could get comics was usually like a gas station, or, maybe if I got to like, a grocery store or something that happened to have them or something like that. But that's just kind of where this is at now, to where at least GameStops are everywhere. And this will bring in a lot of new comic book readers and give accessibility to those who don't have access to comics so much anymore. And I know a lot of people have gone online, and a lot of people have said the same thing to me. Well, why don't you just read digital comics? Like, it's not the same thing.
No.
I try reading a digital comic, and within like 2-3 pages, I'm just like, it just,
No, I mean,
I know it's not that much different, but to me, to have that in my hands and be able to just, I don't know, it's just the difference. I don't understand.
Well, we have a couple people in the chat that's saying, Katani's 28. Why bother? I got Newberry Comics across the street from the former EB Games. Okay, well that's great, but like at the same time, not everybody does. Not everybody has a really good comic shop. I mean, I have a comic shop actually. Maybe a couple miles from here. There's also one 2 towns over, and there's another one, and they're varying quality.
Wouldn't be a bad idea, Doug 34, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He says GameStop should start selling weed instead.
Well, if weed ever becomes legal, maybe they will.
Probably
will. But like I said, at the same time, but I have 2 GameStops not that far from me. So, I mean...
Well, and I don't know their exact connection with Walmart, but I know they usually do a deal with them, because like around here and other places, I know that they usually rent a space within their little mini mall that they'll have in a Walmart parking lot. And almost every Walmart around here, like 90% of them around here have a GameStop. So, I mean, it's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's convenient. It's a good thing for comics, at least.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I have my problems with GameStop, but at the same time, I mean, you got to put comics into places where people are going to go. You got to put comics into places where there are people. I mean, I have a 7-Eleven not that far from me. I really do wish that comics were in 7-Elevens, and then or they were in what they were Barnes and Noble. Marvel took their comics out of Barnes and Noble. They had it in there for years. And now you can still get the trade paperbacks there, but it would help immensely that if they were still in Barnes and Noble.
Yeah. So Well, and that's just it. Like I said, yeah, unless you got a bookstore nearby or you're in a bigger city, that's just the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, but then also, like I said, they're gonna be doing they're gonna be putting them on spinner racks, which is actually a nice bit of nostalgia too. Because I remember going into like I said,
Yes,
into
sir.
the convenience stores and the drug stores, looking at the spinner racks. I mean, it was a cool thing.
I remember when my local gas station quit selling them, I actually bought the spinner rack from them for the longest time for my comics before I lost them all. Yeah, it is. It's kind of neat to see that they're actually doing that.
Yeah, Jess Reed says, "F fuck comic, fuck I miss comics and gas stations." Like I said, you got to put them into places people are gonna be going. See, the big problem is
That's all I had,
that
yeah.
when they
in the drugstore, in the gas station, that's it. Yeah.
see, the big problem is not so much is that you the comics aren't going in these places too. What actually part of the problem is not only the specialty shops, but they used to buy back the unsold issues and give you credit. So that was no big deal if you didn't sell them. But and because comics are they kind of have a finite shelf life.
Yeah.
And during the 80s, when they would sell to the specialty stores wouldn't sell them back. They would just put them out and just put them into the bins as back issues. And so that kind of prompted them to abandon the 7-Elevens, the convenience stores, the drugstores, the gas stations. It says, oh, geez, we have to buy back. Distributors have to buy back these issues from all these from these other places. We could just sell to the comic shop.
Well, yeah, and they kind of created too much of a balloon of comic shops to where they oversaturated the market, on top of everybody thinking that every comic that came out was going to be worth $1 million when their kid was ready to graduate college. And then when they realized that issue of Death of Superman ain't worth the price that's on the cover because they overprinted so many of them. Yeah, it was an industry that kind of, I don't know, it enveloped itself, I guess, in a way. I don't know how to put it. It ate itself. Yeah. With so many variants of covers and stuff, and trying to make everything so collectible, when we realize here, years and years later, even though we've collected comics for the last 30 years, the only ones that are worth anything were the ones that our parents threw out to begin with. So
yeah. Yeah, like I said, my first comic, and we had somebody in the chat. My first comic I ever bought was at a little drugstore in my neighborhood called Granite's Corner Pharmacy, and I think it was Transformers #5. This was back in the early 80s. I can't sell back for credit nowadays. They force them to overbuy stock. Yeah, that's the problem. Now you're stuck with tons of variant issues, variant covers. These guys are stuck with this stuff that they can't move. So
yeah, I literally, when I bought some comics sometime, and that's why I brought up the Death of Superman, this guy gave me a whole bunch of Death of Superman stuff. He's like, here, take it. I got bunches of it.
Yeah.
And this was like 20 years ago. It was 20 years old at this time. I'm like, it ain't worth nothing. He's like, oh no, man, they overprinted them so bad. He goes, I got boxes of them. So it's like, really? Yeah. So yeah, it's a new age.
It's a new age. Like I said, there's still a place for printed comics. I really do think so.
So we got a little time here. Why don't we take some questions from the audience? How about that?
Yeah, let's take some questions. If you guys got some questions, let's just fire them right at us. But make sure you send them to stun. So.
Okay, why don't you take the first one, Rob? Pick her out.
Okay.
When we get some, because we're on a delay, of course.
Yeah, we're on a delay. Yeah, so this is going to take a few seconds.
And sorry if we don't get to everybody's questions. Yeah, we try to.
The only comics they're selling are Sonic. My first comic was Ghost Rider from the 70s. Yeah. 5:30.
Well, good
Rushaholic. Good morning, Rushaholic. Glad you could join us, man. Really,
we're cheating. It's the afternoon here, but yeah.
Yeah, it's Sunday afternoon here. Yeah, so glad you could join it. You could join us. So, Chaos Comics never had a problem. SJW problem with the public was too soft for Chaos Comics. Well, I'm not that familiar with Chaos Comics.
Here we go. When is Trek Log? Hopefully soon. We've been working on it. Rob was away for a while, so we've been trying to catch up. yeah, that's about the best I can say on that. And then Richard Smack says, your Star Wars video hit it out of the park. Thank you very much. No question. You wanted to say, oh, thanks. That means a lot because I actually spent the last 3 days editing that bastard. My God, was it a massive beast. Hi from Poland. Hi.
How you doing? Michael Keller, what are your thoughts on why are DC and Marvel comics not so much of a hit in Europe? Cultural differences, I guess. Well, we actually did we covered that partially in the Scrooge McDuck.
A little bit, yeah. There's a lot of cultural differences when it comes to the comics. Like Andres told us, like over there, the most popular comics when he was growing up wasn't like Superman and Spider-Man and stuff. It was like Uncle Scrooge comics and stuff like that, which was weird. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay. Here's one of the things actually somebody covered before we cover any more questions. Hold on a second. Let me answer a couple more questions and then I'll come back to this. Hey, do you think we should go back to Comics Code Authority, but not like we did back? No. Leave that in the past.
Yeah. Censorship didn't work out well.
Ambrosio Giovanni, what's your opinion on launch in comics? I don't know much about that. I'll look into that and get back to you. But Richard Smack, how funny is it Chinese have a word for lefty American movies? Actually, it's pretty fun. It is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, I'm sure it was just a word that they had appropriated to it that, meant something similar, but yeah.
But here, well, I'm sorry, but I was about to say about comics. Though. One of the things I read though about a few years ago when the Adventures of Tintin, they tried to make that into a movie, and it tanked in America, is that a lot of European comics tend to place the reader in the shoes of the main character. And by giving him like no backstory, and like they try to make the main character pants that you can step into. And Americans, we like characters that we can identify with that have a rich backstory, and that's probably one of the main differences. We become invested in the characters. We want to become invested in the characters here.
All right, I'm trying to slow down these questions so we can get in as many as we can here. Just Reed asks, what was our favorite movie of 2018 so far? Wow. I'd have to say Infinity War.
Yeah, so far Infinity War.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be more to come, but yeah, that's probably my favorite so far. Next question. Monkey Zor asks, which IP do you prefer to report news on the most? Well, the problem with reporting the news is it's difficult to report the cool news because you say, oh, that makes me excited, and then there's not much to talk about after that. But when there's the doom and gloom news, there's always so much more to peel apart and get into. So the fun part isn't so much, gosh, how do you... I mean, I like getting like a lot of the news. Like it was really exciting. I'll say this. It was really exciting to get the news that Disney was probably going to buy Fox. Knowing that those X-Men and those Marvel characters like the X-Men and Fantastic Four and all that could be coming home, I think that really excited all of us a lot. I think that's one thing that I would say as far as like reporting as far as good things and as negative things. I don't know. The thing is I hate to report on negative stuff because it's like we want these things to succeed. We want to have good news and good movies, and that's why we do the in-depth reporting that we do so that we can, analyze what went wrong and what went right and all that kind of stuff. But So Rob, which one is your favorite?
It's almost like an onion. If the news stinks, usually there's more layers to peel back. So that's it actually gets more enjoyable. The more layers, the more deeper you go into a story, the better the better it is. It seems like.
All right, Michael Miller asked this right away, so we better ask this. What do you guys feel about the new Power Rangers reboot? I was too old for Power Rangers when they came out, so I was never a huge fan. So I don't really have a great opinion on them. Rob?
I really don't care.
I mean,
sorry.
They need some kind of injection after what Lionsgate did to them, I guess. But as far as I know, wasn't the TV show still growing strong after all these years anyway? So they have their little set fan base, and they also gain new fans
Yeah.
all the time. So I mean, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. From C Satani 28, is Hasbro and Mattel at risk of dying in a year or two? No, I don't think so. Hasbro's huge. Hasbro does board games. Hasbro does a lot of stuff, and so does Mattel. Barbie alone for Mattel is a huge cash cow. So I don't think there's any chance of them going away.
Shinyango the Dragon Slayer asks, which is more likely to be the next thing in Hollywood? Anime manga? Anime manga? I can't even talk today. Or video game adaptations? Well, it seems like every time they try to do a video game see? That's all, folks. That's what's lovely about live shows. Whenever they try to do anything video game related, it just doesn't seem to work out too well.
No.
And if what is it, Alita Battle Angel, if that does really well, I can see more anime style stuff coming in. But again, we also had, Ghost in the Shell kind of flop. Was it last year? So yeah, go ahead, Rob. You know more about this stuff.
Well, the problem with video games is that the player has a huge part in the outcome of the story. I mean, so it gets tough to tell it from a third person perspective, which so like I said, so it's because because you have such a hand in how everything, the action plays out, it's difficult to translate it. But I think there probably will be eventually a decent video game movie at some point.
Right.
Don't know what though, but I keep saying Metal Gear Solid would probably make a good game just because of it's already an action movie crammed into a video game. So.
Well, that's a problem you kind of have, is it's already something commenting on itself upon itself upon itself in a way.
Yeah.
Since video games a lot of times are emulating movies to begin with, especially in the last few dozen years, since graphics have gotten better and better and stories have gotten better in games, they've become a lot more cinematic to where you would think it would be just a no-brainer. But see, I have that problem, like some people I know too, like where we had with that, what was that movie last year, year before, that was in like first person? Hardcore Henry. Thank you. We said it at the same time, but yeah. And to me, I haven't watched it yet, but I can imagine getting halfway through that movie and being like, you know what, this is just not for me, because I'd rather have the controller in my hand controlling it myself. Instead of watching somebody else play a video game, because I can't watch others play video games. It bothers me.
I'll tell you the one video game movie that I think will do pretty well if they do it right would probably be Uncharted, just because that it's already a big, like I said, it's already a big budget action movie crammed into a video game. So let's take a couple more. By the way, did you know that Ryan Reynolds is in negotiations to stay on as Wade Wilson Deadpool in the MCU? No, I did not. That's not surprising.
Yeah. Oh, Tomb Raider this year, Jess Reed brought up, and that didn't do too well either. But yeah, Jess Reed asked earlier how we felt about Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers. We had a video about that. We both thought it was probably a good casting choice.
Yeah. Love it. I mean, really, it's only that I can't. I love
who else
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
we need a guy like Fred Rogers. We really do.
Okay, Monkeyzor asks, why was Harvey Cthulhu bit cut from the Doomcock interview where Harvey came back and you guys asked him a question?
What? You guys cut me out, you son of a bitch! You asshole!
Yeah, I can't do him. He was a good bit, but we were trying to keep it within a certain kind of time, and it broke up the rest of the interview, so it just went on the cutting room floor. We don't always like to cut things out, but sometimes, as you can tell from these live shows, they have to be. So, but no, it was an alright bit, but just compared to the rest, it just kind of took away from the overall interview a little bit, and it was kind of introduced people to Doomcock. It was kind of a, we were fans, so we wanted to do him a favor to introduce him to more people out there. So it was just kind of like, well, we'll just leave that for the Patreon users.
Michael Miller, how do you unfuck Star Wars? You turn the water hose on it.
No, we haven't seen the Mr. Rogers film yet, Michael Miller. If you're talking about that,
the documentary.
Yeah. No, I haven't yet, but it is on my long list of things to do.
Take it what you will, but Movie Bob said it is an absolute tearjerker.
Oh, I'd imagine.
Yes.
It's a year late, but do
Um,
you? Okay, Shenyango asked this. It's a year late, but do a post-mortem Hollywood Ghost in the Shell in the history of Hollywood attempts to adapt anime. That's a good possibility. We've got so much in the pipeline that when we try to add more and more, it just everything gets bottlenecked, and that's kind of where I'm at right now because it's
mhm.
we've got so much. We've got the Trek log on top of the I almost called it
Yeah.
the Deadpool 2, the solo roundtable
Mhm.
on top of Talking Blue episode and a few other things coming up. So we got a lot in the pipeline right now, but we'll definitely put that on the agenda. We have a DC video also on the way as well, and we're
Yeah.
working on an Ant-Man video as well too. So
Uh, Joshua Nystran, Disney, ABC, Shonen Jump are working on a live action CGI One Piece TV show. What do you think? I'm not that familiar with One Piece. There's a lot of stuff my anime, um, my anime preferences are more toward like mech and stuff like Lupin the Third, kind of like absurd kind of stuff. So and there's I really have to pick up some new titles, so I'll let you know about that.
yeah, I've never been a huge anime fan. I respect it. And this kind of goes back to the question from earlier about anime and movies. And this is where I kind of think they have an issue. Is like, to me, it's like anime in and of itself is an animation style. So it's like you can adapt the story, but to adapt the style is more difficult.
Yeah, I mean the
So
style.
you're already reanimating something then when you're using CGI. So it's still animation technically in the end. It's just 3D animation instead of 2D.
Shinyango the Dragon, After Dark. Ask Rob why he doesn't like Evangelion. Just curious. I didn't like it. There's nothing against it. Nothing against anybody who does like it. It just didn't do anything for me. Lupin the Third Part 5 is out. Okay, I definitely want to watch that. Like I said, Evangelion just didn't do anything for me. I don't know. I just didn't do anything for me. Just didn't do it. I love Macross. I love Macross. I love Space Pirate Captain Harlock. I love Cowboy Bebop. I love Outlaw Star. Evangelion just didn't do it. Do you think this December is too packed with for movies? Yeah, I mean, somebody's always going to suffer with saturation. But that's the thing, though. They don't realize that there is no blockbuster season anymore. You can have a hit anytime. Oh, Willie Woodward, thank you for the $2 super chat. You think Disney will re-release OG cuts of Star Wars? I'm hoping
Eventually,
they do.
I have a feeling they're. I don't know. Here's the thing: they own the rights to them, and George Lucas, I'm sure, had some type of stipulation, so they couldn't. Because I can't imagine why they wouldn't, other than just some kind of gentleman's agreement. But after so long, you got to imagine they'll be like, that's a money pit that they're just wasting away, or a pile of money that they're just turning into a
Yeah.
money pit at this point because you're killing the franchise now. But no, that would be one way to win the fans back. I know, like I'm kind of all over this because I have a lot of thoughts on this subject. I have a couple of videos out there about it already as it is, because this is something I feel very strongly about, is that we should get the original versions of Star Wars, no questions asked, in pure high definition, available legally, because there are illegal, technically, well, they're not illegal if you own them, but there are versions out there. There's scans of the original film prints, and there's somebody who went back and despecialized the special editions. And
Well, there's actually I have them on my shelf. Actually, there's versions of
on
the original on DVD. Yeah, where they
but
package.
those are a rip-off of a laser disc.
Yeah. Well, but at the same time, it's an official release, though. But
Technically, yes. But yeah.
What do you call it? There was actually one. Read by Nature. Ever watched the Guyver? Yeah, I have seen it. I have to see. I want to see a little bit more of it.
It's been like 20 years. Yeah.
I watched Guyver. There was actually Armitage. I did like. And there was another one. Oh, Gogol 13, The Professional. That was actually one. That is actually Gogol 13 The Professional is probably the one anime movie you can make into a live action film very easily. And because it's already a good story, and the sequel Queen Bee was actually very good. It's a very good story. It's very engaging. You really wouldn't have to change too much either. It's all set in modern day. I mean, like I said, you wouldn't have to change too much. You just get to get the right cast. Prince Caspian, doesn't Fox own the original copies rights despite Disney owning Lucasfilm?
On the first film right now, yes. They have a joint deal with it between Lucasfilm and Fox, but the other films they own outright. And Dead Schooled wrote on here, I heard Lucas did the special edition so his ex-wife couldn't get royalties for the editing, and that's why he'll never release the OG versions. There is some possible truth to that. I did a whole video about that I've never released that kind of insinuates that. But yeah, right now, until the Fox merger goes through, if it goes through with Disney, Fox does technically own some rights to the original Star Wars film. So the rights are kind of wrapped up all over the place. And I'm sure, regardless, as a producer and whatever else on those films, George Lucas still has some sort of say over top of them, regardless of who owns them. So, because I'm sure he has some ownership within that still. I doubt he signed all that over, because I doubt he's going to just let those movies be. He has this thing about it, and I think it has a lot to do with his ex-wife, but we don't need to get into all that.
Yeah. What we else got here?
Yeah, we'll take a couple more.
Yeah, I saw one.
Will Disney CC Tenny asks, will Disney stop editing their animated films and release the original in 4K? They keep doing edits for no reasons. I know some of those edits were for, like, how do you want to put it? Politically correctness.
Yeah, I mean,
so as far as I know, a lot of those, the versions we get now, or whatever alterations they make, that's all we're going to get in the future. I highly doubt, unless you can find some bootleg somewhere, you're going to get some version like that. But yeah,
there was actually the version of Aladdin you see right now is not the version that was in theaters.
Right.
Yeah, and they edited a line out of the first number, Arabian Nights. So they do make slight changes to it. Some of them, what was it? Dump with Heckle, the crows, Heckle and Jekyll.
Oh no, there's the crows in Dumbo. They're still in there.
Oh yeah, they're still in there, and like the Siamese cats.
But they will not release Song of the South at all.
No, you have to buy that.
They took out. There was a little black devil boy or something like that in Fantasia that was cropped out. There's a few other things as far as like that goes, but as far as the other alterations, I can't speak of offhand without knowing exactly which ones. But no, I have a feeling they'll continue to do that because that's just the way they've always done things.
Well, Michael Miller, will WB free Babylon 5? I'm not up on what the rights are on that.
Monkeys, or do we do an impression of Andre? We do, but we don't want to die, so we're not going to do it out loud.
Don't you dare do that, Tom.
Yeah, right. That's about as close as you're going to get there.
So, any thoughts on the recent Rampage movie? Actually, that's supposed to be the best video game movie going on. Rampage. It's a big monster movie. It's a big kaiju movie with the Rampage title. I mean, so weren't they called Jim Crow? Read by Nature. No, I don't think they were. Joshua Nystrom. If they ever make more changes to the special editions 1 through 6, they need to add scenes to make it more of an actual director's cut. Okay, that's not really a question, but okay, that's actually a good point.
Yeah, I don't know why Lucas didn't take the opportunity, because he reinstates a little bit of the big storyline, but he doesn't reinstate all of it. It's like, okay. But yeah. sometimes though, there's edits that you really material that you really don't miss. I mean, as Tom and I are both big Beatle fans, and you cannot get the U.S. cut of Yellow Submarine anymore. But it doesn't matter because the UK cut is better. It has an extra song.
it doesn't make a difference, right? I mean, that's
All you gotta do is hit the skip button. There's your American version.
yeah.
Well, normally that kind of thing I don't mind so much, but I mean, I look at it this way. I've got 5 different versions of Blade Runner sitting on one set. Why can't I have all the versions of Star Wars available?
I know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much we can get into about this, and I know a lot of you guys are making some really good points within the chat and stuff like that, but yeah, we should probably move on to the next question, because we're getting close on an hour here, so.
Yeah. Midnight's Edge, Star Wars issues is because it's gone mainstream. Honestly, believe episode 1 to 3 was never mainstream. It's Star Wars has always been mainstream.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first movie was kind of like... It
The
took
first
everybody
movie
by surprise, but after
first
that
movie
there was
came out of nowhere, yeah.
expectations. After that, every movie since has had expectations. Empire Strikes Back is the only pure sequel you could have because there was no other sequels to compare it to until Return of the Jedi came out. But yeah,
But let me tell you, in Christmas 1976, Mark Hamill was at a movie theater, and he was watching the trailer. There's a movie theater in Hollywood. He was watching the trailer for Star Wars, and and at the end it says "coming to a theater this summer," and someone in the back goes, "and coming to late night TV by the fall." So like that tells you where the public was for Star Wars back then.
well, not only that, the distributors forced theaters. Okay, this is the fucked up part. You're gonna at first you're gonna be like, what the hell do you mean? But they forced theaters to take this movie. I believe it was called. What the weird thing is, I think it was called Edge of Midnight or something like that. I can't remember the actual title, but it was based on some novel. But to get that movie, they forced theaters to take Star Wars because the other movie was more popular. So if everybody, right. I kind of screwed up the intro on that, but yeah, basically what I'm saying is the theaters wanted this movie based on this book, but they didn't want Star Wars. But so to get the theaters to take Star Wars, they're like, all right, but if you want this other movie, you got to take Star Wars. So that's how they got him to take that. The other movie flopped, of course.
Yeah.
Because I don't even remember what the hell it was called. I think it was called Edge of Midnight, but I'm not sure. Something like that. It was based on some romance novel at the time.
Yeah. And Richard Smack, mainstream as in it needs to cater to everyone. Well, there's something being mainstream, then there's pandering though.
Right, and to me, especially with Solo, more so, the pandering is bad. I know some people disagree with me on that, but it felt like so bad to me that anyway.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Michael Miller, is there an 80s or 90s sci-fi TV show you would like to see rebooted? Yes, The Critic. That's one show I'd like to see.
My book.
Yeah, but that's not a sci-fi show, but that's one show I would like to see rebooted.
Buck Rogers could probably get rebooted.
Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon could always be rebooted.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's tons of good stuff out there.
Yeah.
It matters on who gets a hold of it, and as long as they don't disrespect what was there before, but also build on what was there before in a unique and original way, I guess, without getting too into it. But yeah. Let's take a couple more.
Yeah.
Oliver Smith, is your channel's based on that title? No, I'm not even sure exactly where. I mean, as far as I know from the story, the short version is it just sounded like a cool title to Andre and his partner at the time. But you can find that out if you head over to Patreon and check out Beyond the Edge.
The
Solo
Dead
movie
School
was cringe. Yeah.
Dead School, The Critic, and Futurama are the best cartoons ever made, in my opinion. Yeah, first few seasons of Futurama were good. See, think about The Critic though; it would work so much better now, with movie criticism being what it is, and with the blockbusters being what they are now.
Oh yeah, we were saying that one night. I like Futurama, but my favorite cartoons have got to be like South Park and stuff like that. But The Critic is way up there. The Critic was a very underrated show and didn't get its just due. And I think you can catch all those on YouTube. So if you guys haven't seen them, otherwise the box set is really cheap. So
I bought the box set. I'm staring at it right now. And
have we seen the? Go ahead.
Well, they were also available for a time on Crackle, which was free, but they're not on there anymore. So
Crimson Crunch asks, have we seen the 2 leaked concept art pictures for Avengers, Thor, Thanos, and the new team? If so, what do you think of them? I did see them. If they're official, well, we figured most of them are going to be back. It looked cool. I kind of like the look. I don't know if Rob's seen him. It sounds like he hasn't. It sounds like he's looking
I'm
them up.
looking up right now. Yeah, click. Too much clickety clack.
They look legit.
Oh yeah. Oh okay. Well, the Hulk in his leather suit there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not so sure how that's going to work out, but hey.
And Carol Danvers all kind of spread eagle, for want of a better expression.
Well, here's a good question from Richard Smack, because we kind of fall into this. Will we ever get honest media regarding movies since they are so afraid to lose their access to premieres? Possibly not, other than guys like us, because we don't have that access and we don't care. We will just dig in and find the truth. We try, because we know that there's the truth, there's the story they sell us, and then there's the story that somebody else tells, and somewhere in the middle is the truth, kind of thing. Because you gotta go with, you have a situation like the Trank is a perfect example. There was all kinds of stories coming out of that situation, and Trank himself has said, half those stories were true, half of them weren't. So you got to take it with with what you got reported, with what one other person or two other people say, and just kind of figure out in the middle there what the truth is. Rob, you kind of, I suppose you see it the same way, but go ahead.
Yeah. Like I said, well, even something like STD stuff we did with STD, how much of that did we turn out to be true?
Right. Well, we had a lot of people trying to attack our integrity on that shit, and it's like, hey man, we're just reporting the news. You know what I mean? It's like we're just reporting what we find, what we put together. Andre's editorials are, more opinion. Our show here is more opinionated, but we also make sure that people understand that that's our opinion. But the mini documentaries and stuff like that, that's actual stuff that we can verify. Or at least if we even say it's a rumor in the mini docs, we still try to support it with something anyway. That's at least what we try to do here.
Jess Reed, Robot, you rock. Thank you very much. I indeed do rock.
Have you ever heard him play guitar?
Yeah. Okay. Let me try to see what else we got. Come on, got time for a few more questions.
Yeah,
guys?
give me like one or two good ones here, guys. Let's go. Yeah. We're almost on the hour. We'll cut her off at an hour.
Okay, yeah, but I did a talk about Carol Danvers, and someone talked about Carol Danvers. Just a couple of comments
provocative
ago.
Way. Oh, here's a good question. Gino X 1987 asks, should we get another Freddy vs. Jason movie? I would love it, but unfortunately Robert Englund is in like his 70s, and I highly doubt he'd want to do another Freddy movie, and that's the only Freddy I'm willing to accept right now unless they give me something good. So, yeah.
Random Game User 42. I go to you guys for most research stuff. You're more credible than other channels. Thank you very much.
Well, we don't like doing our homework when it comes to watching a movie, but we'll do our homework when it comes to researching a story. Yes, we do enough homework.
Sometimes I'll admit, sometimes we get bad information. Do apologize for that. But we go with the best information we get at the when we go. Right. Clinton Jones. Do you think Kathleen Kay is actually going to resign? I think she will be allowed to quit.
I think she's already shit canned. I'll be honest with you. She has been quiet as a mouse. We haven't heard a peep out of her camp, really. This Solo debacle has just gotten worse and worse. I was just looking at the numbers before we were talking about this. It'll be lucky to cross 200 million domestically.
And the thing about that is, people say, "Oh well, she wouldn't get fired over one bad movie," but this is a franchise that doesn't get a second chance.
That's the problem. Is it's not just one bad movie. Every movie, and check out the new mini document or new editorial we just did that Andre did. That gets into a lot of this, and that brings up a lot of these points. But it's true. She has had nothing but trouble since the first film. As far as we know, there was no trouble behind the scenes on Force Awakens, but I've even heard rumors that that's not true. But going with what we got to go on, we know that there was trouble on Rogue One because they had to have reshoots there. We know that they've had nothing but Josh Trank got fired, and then they also had the issue with Trevorrow, and then we had the Lord and Miller situation. It's all coming down, and then with the reaction to The Last Jedi, it's to the point where no matter who you are and how you feel about these movies, it's getting harder and harder to say, oh, there's no problem. There's just a little minority fan base that are just bitching because they didn't get the movie they wanted. No, they basically lost over half the Star Wars fans at this point, the way the numbers are kind of panning out between the video sales, Solo's box office. It's really telling, and they're lucky they got at least a year and a half right now between now and episode 9, because then maybe some of that'll taper off. But I'll be surprised if episode 9 isn't one of the lowest openings for an episode movie yet at this point, unless they find a way to get the fans back on board. Rob?
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, she's had so many opportunities story-wise, and they squandered it. I don't think she's a creative person. I really don't. And for the people who say about, oh well, unless you can do something, then you shouldn't say anything. I'm like, this is not about us, okay, doing anything. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. When you produce when you make a piece of art, whether it's a film, album, book, whatever, you put it into the public sphere, and it gets discussed, it gets dissected, it gets analyzed. Okay, this is what we do. Okay, I mean, you cannot say it is above reproach because I haven't done something. That's the thing. I mean, that we're gonna criticize it. I don't care. There's this millennial thing now. Oh well, if you don't like it, then you shouldn't say anything. I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
Right, and I mean, I didn't even dislike The Last Jedi as much as most people do, but I understand the gripes, and my problems with the film are the same problems that everybody else has. They just have more of an issue with it. And Solo, I had enough at that point. So I'm just, and you said this in the roundtable that's coming up. Disney's in the business of making people happy, and they're not making people very happy right now. Sure, some people are happy, but not enough in the eyes of Disney. And in a situation now where, kids are not as interested in Star Wars, and there's a lot more to take their interests away. Who else do you have but a lot of the old fans in a lot of ways? And you're basically bleeding the old fans, or hemorrhaging them, left and right with all the stuff between the movies themselves and the propaganda bullshit that's being put out there in the news. And then, you had this thing with Kelly, what's her last name? Kelly
Marie Tran.
Kelly Marie Tran leaving Instagram, which, she was bullied supposedly by some people, which, it happens when you're a movie star. Trust me, it happens to us, and we're not even movie stars. But you can't let that get to you. And I think some of it might have been just to distract from Solo, but that's just an opinion.
Well, let's not forget though, this isn't just about movies, video games, merchandise, toys, and Disney. They're pouring a lot of money into this Star Wars theme park too. So they have a hotel, they have a theme park, they have all this stuff that is being built right now as we speak.
Well,
And they stand to, if Star Wars falls out of favor with the movie going public and with fandom, they lose a ton of money on this.
Yeah, and investors aren't interested and don't think they aren't noticing these things.
Yeah.
Solo was a big red flag, a huge red flag. And Episode 9 is going to be very, very telling going forward, and we're just finally starting to see numbers on The Last Jedi's video sales, which are paling in comparison to The Force Awakens, which, granted, digital downloading is a little bit bigger now than it was then, but still, I'm sad to see the franchise go to this extreme. It's been,
No, Geno X, 1987. Should Disney dust off the Tron franchise and bring it back again? No, not really.
I kind of liked Tron Legacy, but
actually, Michael Miller had a question a few things ago. How do you unfuck the DCEU? If I knew that, I'd be getting paid the big bucks. Seriously. First of all, stop with going after these auteur directors like Zack Snyder and stuff like that. Get guys who know what they're doing, and it all comes down to story. It all comes down to story.
Well, don't do what they're going to do and have been doing, unfortunately. And what they're going to do now is confuse the audience going forward if they actually go through with all these various movies. We brought this up on the recent live show that we did where they talked about the new Joker movie. It's like, okay, all you're going to do is confuse audiences if you got two different Jokers out there. We already have, so much going on. The general audience is not going to put up with this shit. It's bad enough that the comic book audience is going to probably be like, what the fuck are you doing? But the general audience is going to get confused after a while, and they're just not going to go see these movies. Because I've talked to, I don't know how many what I would consider a general audience member about things like, the Avengers and whatnot, and they were confused at first, thinking like, the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies were attached now to they're like, oh, I don't like how they recast the guy, and I'm like, well, it's because it's a different character. You have to actually explain it to them, and you shouldn't have to. That's the way the movie business usually works, and unfortunately you're in this state where either you're going to do a shared universe or you're not going to do a shared universe. You have to make that choice, and going forward DC looks like they're going to try and do both. Yeah, and it's going to I think it's going to fall apart.
Yeah. Danny Depot, hey guys, who do you think would do a good job of taking over from Kathleen Kennedy? I know a lot of people keep saying Dave Filoni, but we don't know what. No. Yeah, we don't know what his business acumen is. John Lasseter of Pixar just stepped down.
Well, Pixar. There's a reason for that, so I'm not even gonna. Brad Bird, let's bring him up, or somebody like that, or Ben Burt never seemed to get his. He's done so much behind the scenes, and I know I keep bringing his name up. I wonder how he would deal with some of this, because he seems like a very down-to-earth kind of guy, to where, especially if you watch him during the makings of the prequels, it's almost like he's aware of what's going on in his own way. But I don't know. I mean, I know he's just a sound man originally, and he moved up, but...
Who was the guy that was Lucas's second right-hand man? I can't right off the top of my head. I can't remember. He would do all the.
Back in the day, you mean?
Yeah. He was on.
Well, there was Gary Kurtz for a while. Then there was.
Kurtzman? No,
Gary Kurtz. If you're thinking of him.
No,
but they had a falling out, and then. And as
he
far
was
as
he was on the special editions.
McCullum. What the hell's his name? He was a dumbass, though. No, we don't need him.
Well, he would be a guy. He would be a guy to take over.
I don't know about that. Rick McCullum. That's that. Thank you, Michael.
Rick McCullum. Yeah, Rick McCullum.
That's what I thought. I knew it was McCullum or something like that. I don't know. He kind of struck me, but then again, he was one of those though that just wouldn't tell George when something wasn't working either. That's the problem. Is you had a lot of guys at that time that just let George get away with too much. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, I think he's probably too old to take over now.
I know you'd go with Joe Johnston, but he's probably not going to run a studio.
No, Joe Johnston's going to retire, but I don't think he'd want to return to the. I don't think he'd want to return to.
I don't know what Phil Tippett's been up to lately, other than special effects stuff. But...
Well, Rick McCallum, he's 63 years old, and Kathleen Kennedy is 65.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, so it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world, but at the same time,
10 years ago I would have said Gail Ann Hurd, but she hasn't really impressed me in the last few years. So
yeah, but like I said, it doesn't look. It looks like Kathleen Kennedy does not want anybody who associated with George Lucas.
And that's the problem you run into here. Is it's like I've seen some articles, and they're not totally wrong. They're like, Kathleen Kennedy is the best person to do this job because on paper and up front, yes, she does look like the perfect person for this job, but it's obviously not working out.
She might be the most qualified on paper, but it just doesn't look like she's the right person.
I don't know. Okay, I would I'll bring somebody in who can go out on a limb here. Like, how about somebody like Bob Gale or somebody like that who worked with Zemeckis on Back to the Future and stuff like that? Yeah. Somebody who actually understands storytelling and has worked in a big franchise before, I guess, is what I'm kind of saying. Somebody who understands both parts of it. You need a Kevin Feige. You need somebody who does, and we keep going to him, but he's like this quintessential guy that we're waiting for the next Kevin Feige to just show up out of nowhere, hopefully, basically. Jess Reed
worst comes to worst, I'll do it. So
yeah, right. We'll do one more question here, and it's a perfect question to end it on. Jess Reed asks, "What do you want to see in season 2 of Orville?" I just want to see more Orville.
I want to see more
Isaac.
Orville. Oh my god!
I'd love to see some more on Isaac. I
love the Orville. I really do. I'm gonna watch the whole first season again. Oh, do I love the Orville?
Oh, Dead Schooled. I think that was some Facebook page claiming to be Michael J. Fox that said that they apparently announced Back to the Future 4. As far as I know, that's been debunked.
Hey, Doc. Hi. Oh,
Marty.
This is heavy.
Marty.
Oh, this is heavy. DC's obsession copying Marvel went wrong. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, we should probably.
Yeah, okay. Well, actually, no. One more question.
Okay.
Make it a good one. Make it a good one, guys. Dig deep. Make this. This is the final question of the day. So dig deep. Okay.
We got that damn delay.
Whoa, Doc. This is heavy.
Marty, we've got a time delay. Great Scott!
Great Scott!
This is heavy, Doc.
There's that word again. Heavy. Is there something wrong with the Earth's gravitational pull in 1985? Is there anything round?
The Earth. The Earth. That's it.
Where do you hope your channel will be in 10 years? We hope to conquer the world.
If we could be at the level like TYT or something like that, that'd be awesome.
Snag Prophet is the Force female. The Force is a hermaphrodite.
It's Midi-chlorians. It's actually male and female.
The Force has had 6 sex change operations and couldn't come up with something it liked.
Or Midi-chlorians asexual.
Name a great Scott. William Wallace.
Sean
Scott
Connery. Bakula. I don't know.
Scott Bakula. Montgomery Scott. According to Kennedy, the Force wears a strap. Oh,
ouch.
Shlomo for president. Do you know how bad? You know how bad a president I would be.
No, he couldn't be any worse than the guy we got. So anyway,
President Shlomo today will be fielding questions, sipping margaritas in the Rose Garden.
At 6 o'clock. I will be doing a rock concert. Followed by a stand-up comedy act. You will be
the presidential jam.
You will be entertained.
Do you want Bob/Fred, me and Doug on the Trek log? Bob Fred. Me.
Oh, that's Fred.
Doug.
Sure. Okay.
Rob 2020.
There's actually going to be some big changes in the Trek log, but we can't talk about that right now.
Yeah.
But
J Infinite, Rob 2020. Just restore my vision to 2020 and I'll be happy.
Same here. I'm sick of wearing glasses.
Okay, one more question, guys. Come on, final question of the day.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up because I got to get some work done.
Yeah. Imagine the press. So if Disney is acquiring Fox, does that mean they'll have a hand in Mel Gibson's Resurrection of the Christ? Most likely, yes. Pancakes. Oh, this is a great one to end on. Pancakes or waffles. Depends on my mood. Depends who's making them. I love pancakes. I really do. I really do.
Yeah, it depends on what you got to put on them.
Given the choice, I usually go for pancakes. So anyway, that is our final question. You've learned more about me than you.
And monkeys we don't know. That's up to Doomcock.
Yes. We're really sorry, guys. We'd love to do this all day, but Tom's got to get going. I got to get going myself.
Yeah.
Disney take bakes.
Fix the new video. So yeah.
So maybe. Where's my Final Discovery Trek log?
They're coming. And like we said, there's going to be some big news in the Trek log. There's reasons why it's been taking a while. On top of there's going to be some big changes, and we got some stuff coming for you guys that hopefully you'll be very excited about. So
head over to Doomcock's channel. He has a review of episode 9. It's hysterical. It's been good chatting with you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for fielding questions. Thank you for the super chat. As I always say, we cannot do this without you. So one more time for Tom Connors.
Thank you so much.
I'm Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo, and we will catch you next time.